Hello everyone, welcome back into the channel. My name is Rob. My last stream was flagged and got a strike. Right now I'm going through the appeal process, so I can't stream right now until either the appeal goes through or I hit the required amount of time and the strike goes away. So I'm gonna have to do chart update videos without live streaming, so stick with me here until we can get those streams back up and running again. But we have seen some very interesting price action here in Bitcoin. So let's quickly go through the Bitcoin charts on all the different time frames, starting off here with the Bitcoin dollar Bitfinex chart on the daily. If we zoom in here, that area I was looking for support to come in, the top side of this descending trend line, has so far held true. The one red day we saw, well, the one major red day we saw out of my caution box area where I thought we'd see some resistance come in and a possible down move off of it, we got that and we pulled back right to the descending trend line here. Since then, it's been some sideways action, but we did have this one big down move here. You can see yesterday had a big wick to the downside, cutting through both the 20 and dipping a little below that descending trend line, but it was all eaten right back up. And since then, today we have actually broken higher from yesterday's high and the day before's high and the day before's high. So very encouraging sign there. You can't really see what was going on in this time frame, but I'm actually going to zoom in here to a very short time frame, a 5-minute chart, to talk about the recent price action here. Well, actually, first let's take a look at the hourly. And you can see here on the hourly that big down move that got eaten up immediately, and more recently, last candle here, we had a lot of volatility with a big wick to the upside and a big wick to the downside. And if we look now at the 5-minute to see what's going on, the bears were in here trying to goose it lower. Now, this was probably assisted by people's stops. There was probably a lot of stops in this range from the longs. Those got triggered, which then pushed it down here and triggered these stops and triggered these stops and so on. And it led to this mini flash crash we saw that pushed us down to this descending trend line. But the interesting thing of what we saw is what occurred afterwards, and also more recently what occurred afterwards. The big down move came in, but it didn't last long. These are 5-minute candles, so we really had 5-10 minutes of downside, but in that last 5-minute bar here, huge wicking action, and we closed a lot higher than we opened this 5-minute bar. So the strength of the bears is nowhere near where it has been over the last months, year, and it's really evident with these last couple of price actions we've seen. So we dipped hard here, not immediately sucked back up, but trended higher and then exploded up above where we started the major drop here. And more recently, look at this action as well. It's the same thing we saw here on a lot smaller scale, but the bears tried to goose it again. They tried to push us lower. There was zero follow through. And in a 5-minute candle, you know, all the downside we saw from the bears almost got immediately sucked back up. And the next 5-minute candle, it actually led to continued buying here, pushing us higher. So these are really encouraging signs that the bears just are not here anymore. And if we zoom back out, we'll go to the hourly. Up in an area where you'd expect them to have more strength, they did have their strength and were able to push it lower and keep it in this range. But the attempts afterwards, both what we saw here and more recently what we saw last hour here, are really signaling that the bears do not have the strength here to continue a move down, which again is something we have not seen in a very long time. Usually when we get a down move like this, we at least get a couple more bars of continuation to the downside. And even what we saw here, we saw that one big hour of downside action. you'd expect some action here to pull us back in, but you can see the attempt they had here pushed us back down, but could not break, actually double bottomed right here at the low from the major down move here. So very encouraging signs what we're seeing from price action in Bitcoin, at least for the bulls. Now to me, you know, I'm still hesitant because this is bear flaggish looking. So if we draw out just a rough set of lines here, you know, I'm really not gonna be 100% on board with this until we break out of this pattern, which again to me does appear like a bear flag, and the probabilities suggest a break lower from there. But you know, each attempt we've had to break lower from here, both this major one here that immediately got sucked back up, and more recently this one last hour, they tried to goose it down, got sucked right back up. Very encouraging, but I'm waiting for the overall price action to break out of this range in order to get more bullish and get back into my trades. What we saw here and what we saw recently here is a lot like what we saw here. In this case, we had a move to the upside that got rejected, and the bears came in, but they were not able to continue it lower. And we actually pushed to higher highs into the red box of resistance before dropping below this range we are in. So we've seen this now, signs that the bears are not at strength 1, 2, and more recently 3 times here in the last week pretty much. So, you know, 3 out of the 4 times, if you include this in there, 3 out of the 4 times, the bears were not able to get follow through. And even this candle, they weren't able to get follow through. They were able to lead a big push for 1 hour, but didn't get much after that. So really encouraging signs for the bulls out there. Again, I just want to reiterate, I am not ready to step in yet until we break out of this bearish looking pattern. But the signs are showing that the bears are weak. They made their play here, they made their play here, but they weren't able to take it anywhere, and it immediately got sucked back up, and we see these big wicks to the downside. So of course, I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, just what I see in the charts and what I am doing with my own capital. But that's going to do it for me for this one, guys. If you enjoyed this, make sure to drop a like, and if you're not subscribed already, hit that subscribe button and click on that notification bell. Hopefully we will be back streaming here shortly. Again, I'm just waiting on YouTube. My appeal should be accepted, so whenever they get around to accepting it, hopefully very soon, we will be back streaming again. But that's going to do it for me for this one. I will see you guys in the next one, and as always, stay living that crypto money life.